Hi there, I'm Suzette Kroll, registered dietitian. I'm your personal nutrition guide. Now that you're getting closer and closer to your weight loss surgery, we need to talk about a couple of things that are going to be particularly important after your surgery. This is a two-part series. In this first part, we're going to talk about protein. Protein. You're on a high protein diet for about a year following surgery. You're not going to be on a high protein diet forever, but just in this honeymoon period after surgery, which should last about a year, give or take. It could be 6 months, could be 18 months, but wrap your head around the fact that for about a year following surgery, you need to be focusing on protein. We define a high protein diet as 60 to 80 grams of protein per day. If you're 6 foot or taller, it's 100 grams of protein per day. You need this much for tissue healing, to help you feel full, to help minimize the hair thinning and hair loss that can occur after surgery, and especially important, to help minimize muscle loss. You see, when you lose weight, your body doesn't differentiate between losing fat and losing muscle. So when you stand on a scale and see that you've lost weight, say for example 10 pounds, the scale isn't telling you you lost 10 pounds of body fat. In your head, you might think that's what happened. But in reality, you might have lost 5 pounds of fat and 5 pounds of muscle, and that still shows up as minus 10 on the scale. Well, the negative of losing muscle tissue is that muscle is calorie burning tissue. So essentially, you slow your metabolism down when you lose muscle tissue, and that's going to make it harder to keep the weight off in the long run. You don't have a particular protein goal to meet at this point because you haven't had your surgery. So your nutrition goal from this session until the next one is just to start knowing and learning which foods have protein and to start eating them at your main meals. So this is the official list of foods that contain the highest protein count. This is a good time to take a screenshot or take a picture of this slide with your phone or to stop the video and take some notes. After your surgery, you're going to flow through a series of textures as you heal, from liquid to soft to semi-solid and then eventually solid. And these will be the best protein choices within those textures. So today I'm going to go through these groups and talk about the best choices within each group and give you some ideas of how to add them into your diet now. If you're already eating these foods, then adding them back in after surgery should be seamless. So first up is dairy. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and ricotta cheese are good sources of protein. When you choose dairy products, ideally choose non-fat or low-fat varieties. That's because you'll get the most protein for the least calories. You can see this clearly in this comparison of Greek yogurts. We're looking at 0%, 2%, and whole Greek yogurt. On the top left, the 0%, you can see, provides you with 23 grams of protein, and it's costing you 130 calories for those 23 grams of protein. Versus the 2% yogurt, you get the same 23 grams of protein, but you'd have to spend 170 calories to get those 23 grams. And then when you look at the whole yogurt, you're only getting 18 grams here, and you're spending 190 calories. So very quickly, you can see you spend the least calories and get the most protein here with non-fat dairy. Next up is beans. Beans are a great source of protein, and you should start choosing them today and choose them often as your protein source. Now, you might have previously avoided beans because of their carbohydrate count, but you learned in a previous session there's no need to throw them under the bus because of their carb count. If you missed that session, go ahead and go back and watch it. So beans are a great source of protein and a great source of fiber, and that helps you feel full. The blended bean soups will be one of the first textures you can add back in after surgery, so crushed lentil and split pea soups are great options, and they're great options now to start eating them for lunch or dinner. Whole beans would be the next texture that you add in after surgery, so then a whole lentil soup or a black bean soup would be a good idea. And again, great ideas now for lunch or for dinner. If you're watching this session in the summer and eating soup does not sound appealing, you can just use whole beans maybe in salad as the protein source, or maybe scramble whole beans into your scrambled eggs. Eggs and egg whites are great sources of protein as well. Fish, seafood, and nuts are protein sources, and these will be the next textures that you add in after surgery. Now, if cooking fish or knowing how to cook fish, not knowing how to cook fish is a barrier to eating it, now is a good time to learn. So use resources like YouTube and Pinterest and cookbooks and start learning some recipes. Build up your recipe library so you have some good go-tos. It's a good idea to watch videos on YouTube and learn how to prepare some recipes so that you feel confident when you're in the kitchen. If the smell of fish is a barrier to eating it, stinks up the whole house when you cook it, then consider eating it away from the home at lunchtime maybe and using something like these pouches of tuna or salmon. Now, nuts, seeds, and nut butters are sources of protein as well, but they have more fat than protein. So they are going to cost you more calories for the protein. So take a look at this label here on the right. These are organic raw almonds. For a 1/4 cup serving, you're getting 8 grams of protein. Notice there's 18 grams of fat, so almost triple the fat in the protein. And that high fat content drives the calories up. So for 8 protein, you're spending 210 calories. And the nut butter labels look similar. So while nuts, seeds, and nut butters are so-called healthy fats because they're from plants, they are a little more costly in calories. So if you're eating a lot of these and notice that your weight loss has slowed down or that you're gaining weight, maybe it's time to put a little portion control on them. So good rule of thumb on portioning is to limit nuts and seeds to 1/4, maybe 1/2 cup a day. Always leave a measuring cup or spoon in the bag so that you can measure each time you're eating them. And then with the nut butters, 2 tablespoons is a good portion guide. And finally, chicken and turkey. These are the most dense, solid, dense forms of protein you can eat. So these will be the last ones that you add in after surgery. This might be the primary source of your protein now in your diet, which is perfectly fine. Do know that cooking in a method that makes the chicken soft is going to help you tolerate it a lot better after surgery. So maybe start learning some crock pot recipes or instant pot recipes if you don't know them already. And there's some other good options here up on the screen. The canned chicken, those pouches of chicken, those softer textures go down really good after surgery. They're quick and easy to incorporate now, even maybe a pouch of chicken over a salad. And then at the bottom of this screen, you've got some low sodium turkey breast. And that's a great option, just chopping it up and adding it to salad or just rolling it and eating it by itself, maybe with some carrot sticks as a quick grabby lunch. Okay, so again, your nutrition goal from this session until the next is start eating protein at your main meals. Here's some ideas. Maybe egg omelets, load them up with vegetables at breakfast, or that plain non-fat Greek yogurt loaded up with some fruit. At lunch, large salad, adding chicken, salmon, or tuna pouch as the protein source. And at dinner, maybe a lentil soup or a black bean soup, maybe a stir fry, and then add in chicken or shrimp as the protein source. This is a list of quick, easy grab-and-go proteins. So if you feel like a barrier to eating protein is the time that it takes to cook it, you can quickly see here there's a lot of quick, easy, healthy, grabby proteins. So again, a good time to take a screenshot of this slide or take a picture of it with your phone or stop the video and take some notes. So from this session until the next, eat protein at your main meals. If you're choosing animal protein, make sure it's lean. If you're choosing dairy, make sure it's non-fat or low-fat. Make an effort to choose those beans, lentils, peas as protein sources often. And maybe put a limit on those nuts, seeds, and nut butters if you see that you're not losing weight or you're starting to gain weight and you're using these frequently as your protein source. All right, we've got one more really important thing to talk about that you'll need to know after your surgery, so tune in to part 2. I'll see you there. I'm Suzette Kroll, registered dietitian. I'm your personal nutrition guide.